Welcome back to the Total Focus Podcast, episode number 13. I'm your host, Paul. Our guest this week is Megan Eunpu. She's the current and first ever Miss DC for America 2019. She's also a former NPC fitness competition competitor, so if you're into pageants and the fitness competition, stay tuned to the show, as well as congratulations on being the first ever.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be the first Miss DC for America, to compete for the first Miss for America title in August.
I think it's just awesome to be the first in anything, especially when it's such a unique title and they're making a new platform. Everyone knows in the Mary side that the MRS America is like the number one, like the gifts you get. I don't know if the girls have been telling you about like the gifts they get in the rooms.
The contestant gifts. We did that for Miss DC as well, which was really fun.
Yeah. I'm really close with Mrs. Maryland America, and she was telling me last year that like the gifts you get in the room are like crazy. You get like engraved names for everything. You get like Louis Vuitton bags. One night you get like glass bowls with your name engraved on it. So I'm sure like I would say it's the pageant to do. It's like supposed to be completely like the
pageant. Yeah, I was very excited when I heard that they were starting a Miss Division last year, and it's great. I've already been told to bring an extra suitcase for all the gifts that we're going to bring. So, flying out to Vegas and making sure I have that, along with all the gowns and everything that comes with a week worth of getting ready for the pageant and meeting all the sisters, and really a sisterhood that the Mrs. America organization started and is now bringing to the Miss for America organization.
So how did you get into pageants from the get-go? From what I recall, you were doing fitness competitions, but like, did you do anything before that?
Yep. So when we'll go back a little bit. When I was in college, I gained a lot of weight and I wasn't very happy with how I looked, what I was doing. So I had gone to bodybuilding.com and I found these strong, amazing women who are doing fitness competitions.
Now, what is bodybuilding? Because I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, bodybuilding.com. It's kind of a place where you can buy supplements, get information about workouts, nutrition. It's a little bit of everything. And they have a lot of women and men who do a lot of the bodybuilding competitions there. And I had just found it, and I was like, you know what? I made the goal. This was back in 2003, 2004. 2007, 2008, I made the goal that I was going to get on stage at a bodybuilding competition. So I was, I'm about 5'6", and I was over 200 pounds. I stopped weighing myself at that point. And I said, I want to be as strong and amazing as these women on stage. I want to do that.
And that was in college?
That was right after college. So I graduated 2007. So It was the 2007, 2008.
So before that, you have no interest in being on stage or doing performances?
Nope. No, I played tennis growing up.
Okay,
so I love playing tennis.
So you were an athlete.
Yeah, athlete.
So
correct.
You did a little bit of tennis. So that's what you did to stay in shape and just to stay in the community. So you played tennis.
Yep.
Okay. Did you play tennis your entire?
Yep. Ever since I was 6 years old, I was at one point top 30 in the Mid-Atlantic section.
Okay.
So I grew up in the DC area, Mid-Atlantic. Competitive.
Yeah. So to be competitive tennis, you're in really good shape.
Yes.
So did you basically get that college 20 and then
college 20 and then some?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you just not play sports when you were in college?
I tried to, but it was very difficult to.
Just juggling the schedule
scheduling, but it was more the diet. It was. I was very unhealthy. I binge ate. I was extremely, extremely unhealthy, extremely unhappy with a lot of it. And it's taken me a lot to actually express that and bring it out that I did struggle back then. I mean, I would get ephedra, which is illegal, but I tried to get that. And I remember one day I was like, this isn't working. I'm going to take a little bit more. And I was laying in bed and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot do this. Like, God, if you let me get out of this, I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to eat right. I'm going to do all the right things. And that's kind of where I started looking at the bodybuilding competitions, looking at trainers, trying to figure out how do I do it the right way and not a quick fix and not in a second I'm going to take a pill and all of a sudden I'm going to be skinny, because that wasn't a good from a mental standpoint as well as physical.
Well, what allowed you to come to this epiphany? I know that specifically is the epiphany, but
Yep.
did someone show you a bodybuilding contest, or because you were doing sports, you were just already aware of that surrounding? Like how?
Yeah, I saw these women that were so strong and feminine and confident and on stage in a little bikini. And I looked at it and said, if I can do that, then I can do anything. If I can get on stage in a little bikini, then I no longer can consider myself fat, because I can go in and go through that.
So no one actually brought that up to you. It was just something that was
This
in
is
your
something
surrounding.
that kind of
Awesome.
came up. It took me 9 years to get there.
Okay.
A lot of stories, they would say, yeah, the next year I got there. It took me 9 years. And every January I'd say, okay, I'm going to do it this year in April. I'd have a different trainer. I'd have a different process. I'd get, 2 months out and say, no, there's no way. There's no way, I'm not ready. The next year I'd get within a month and a half. Then finally 3 years ago, back in 2016, I said, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I signed up, and 2 weeks out, I was like, I can't do this, but I made myself, I said, if there's any time there, it's going to be now. It's been 9 years. Let's get on stage. Let's do this. And since then, there's been a huge weight, not just physically, but from a mental standpoint, that has been lifted off of me of who I need to be and what I need to look like. And really that stigma in my mind, I have really gotten rid of after being on stage at a bodybuilding competition, which sometimes is very different than a lot of the women, because they'll cut down so much that by the time they become their normal weight, normal size, because you can't keep that body weight for that long.
So what's the normal, because men get down to what, 5%, and women
Something like that.
Yeah, and women get down to 10,
13, 14,
right,
depending on which one. If you're doing bikini, it's a little bit more than the physique.
Yeah, because of your body structure and physical. If you get any lower, you could have like medical issues, right?
Yes.
So you have to keep a little bit more.
And the diet's very strict. I mean, you're doing hardly any carbs. You're carb loading, not carb loading, the water, all of that. And I wanted to make sure when I did it for a lifestyle reason, which is how I was able to continue with that and really get on stage.
Even today, because that was 3 years ago.
Yep.
Is that something that you think you'd want to do again? Are you getting the itch like that you want to do it? Because you're doing pageants now, but it's got to be a different itch, because
it's very different.
Right.
Yeah, so I had my first one in 2016. I got on stage again in 2017 at a WBFF competition, bikini and modeling. I had a blast, much more fun with that than I did the first one. And last year I figured, okay, do I want to do another bodybuilding competition, or do I want to get into something else? So every year I kind of create a big goal for myself that's personal, that's outside of work. And last year, for whatever reason, I started Googling pageantry, what all is involved there. I knew that there was going to be a gown and being on stage, and I knew that there was community service. And so I said, let me check this out. And I found a coach, and she said, why don't you go after the International Miss organization? So I applied, and I became International Miss Virginia 2018 last year.
Congratulations.
And thank you very much. And I needed a platform. And what do I do for my platform? I have so many different interest areas. And I decided to create my own. So everything's kind of snowballed from there. Unfortunately, I wasn't what International Miss was looking for, which, as you know, every pageant is different, every year is different, and sometimes it's your time and sometimes it's not.
Sometimes you just want to do it for fun,
Exactly.
You're a girl, so I'm sure you just like to dress up. So
exactly.
And I'm sure you didn't just do the fitness competition to get the gold sword or the big muscle trophy. So.
Oh, that was purely
right.
That was purely to get on stage and say I did it for myself. But
because I've had a lot of pageant friends that have actually pursued pageantry to practice their on-stage performance for NPC and to do their competitions, because their fitness coaches think that they're going to help with their poise on stage if they can do that. And because there's more opportunities to do pageants,
than
So,
those.
yeah, have
The
you heard it? Is that
posing.
what they say? Is that what they? You have people saying that same thing to you to work on that?
I haven't heard that, but the posing is very different. So when I was working on posing, especially in swimsuit for actually both International Miss and then to be Miss DC, it was I had to retrain myself to not be in that bodybuilding type of posing.
Yeah, the big sharp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because pageantry is more soft.
Yes.
More soft, but the stage presence, I absolutely love it. I am having an absolute blast. Probably the best part that I love about it is being able to meet some of the people I've been able to meet, to be able to make a difference, put a smile on people's faces, and utilize the crown and sash for good.
So you did 3 years doing fitness competition.
Yep, 2 years in bodybuilding. Yep.
So and then following year you did another pageant. So how did we come to where we are now doing the Miss America, the Ms. Part of the Miss America, the MRS America system, which is now has a a component. So
yes.
how did that come to about? Like, how did you hear about it? Because this is a new pageant, so like I'm sure it wasn't just like out there already. So did someone actually approach you to?
Yeah, they did. I was working with Julie Cangelosi, who is Mrs. DC from 2017, I believe was her year. So I had been working with her on International Miss and getting ready for that. And when things didn't go my way there, I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to continue on, but I knew that my platform was still growing. I knew I still had more community service to give. And they had announced that they were doing a new Miss for America, which 18 and over, not married, and doesn't have the age cap that some of the other ones do. And so I applied to be Miss Capitol Hill, DC, and hit the ground running.
So what do you like about the system that you're in right now? Is there anything that I know that you had built the whole website and like you were going because your local title was Capitol Hill, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So you were like giving out cookies and you did a photo shoot and like so can you talk about that because you definitely were noticeably out in the public and like showing your face, which a lot of the locals don't do a really good job, but like you literally built a website and like it was very impressive. Like,
thank you.
Yeah.
I had a blast with it. Yeah. During my Miss Capitol Hill reign, which was October-ish to April before I won my title, I did over 30 appearances.
Really?
I did, yes. I made pies for the Capitol Hill Police and for Thanksgiving. It was there. It was freezing cold that day on that Thanksgiving day, but did that. I've been a part of the American Heart Association. I helped volunteer for the Heart Ball. I've done a bunch of different things that have been so fun.
So for that local, I know they allow you to somewhat, if it's available, they let you pick out. Did you really want that one specifically? Was that something that local title?
Yes. First of all, Capitol Hill is really where everything kind of stems from, especially in the DC area. But last year, I had the opportunity to be a part of an advocacy day for PCOS Challenge. And PCOS Challenge is polycystic ovary syndrome, which a lot of women have. And so I was a part of that advocacy day to bring awareness and bring more money for NIH to do more research on what it is that PCOS is. I was diagnosed when I was 13 with PCOS, so I am pre-diabetic and have a lot of other challenges. A lot of women find out when they're trying to get pregnant because it messes with fertility, but we're learning that there's a lot more that goes along with PCOS.
So, going back to that freshman 20, in all sincerity, it wasn't necessarily all focused on bad diet. You do have a medical condition that is, it's like having like you're predisposed to, having weight gain because you have a family of all people that are overweight or everyone has. So you're predisposed to have that. So you shouldn't like kick yourself when you're down. I mean, but like seriously, because like if you seriously, if that's just it's just what you're dealt with in life. I mean,
it is, and with women with PCOS, if you have white flour, especially for me, that was the biggest thing. if I have one piece, it's like I had 20. So the women who are watching who have PCOS who have that, and
So you really can't have bread,
I have to be very careful about.
But like I'm talking about, like if you go to a restaurant and they have that the free bread before the meal, is that killer for you? Like
If I have it too often, yes, I can have a piece here and there,
wow.
but I'm very careful about what I eat. I eat 6 times a day. I eat when your insulin levels are when you're pre-diabetic, your insulin levels are difficult to regulate. So by eating 6 times a day, you can regulate it by your diet versus by metformin or some of the other drugs, which didn't happen to work for me, fortunately or unfortunately. So I had to learn. It took me a while to learn my body, learn how to do that. So being part of the advocacy day and being part of PCOS Challenge, it really was huge for me to help and show these women like, hey, you can get there, and to bring about more funding through NIH, through Congress, so that they don't have to wait 20 years and do trial and error for 20 years to try to figure that out.
So are you, is this year, do you have a goal to get a policy for more funding? Like, I mean, was that necessarily the goal going into that? Like, that's
Yep.
why you wanted to be on Capitol Hill to try to get some more capital
funding? Just being in that advocacy day and being part of that to get more funding, get more awareness. They end up getting PCOS Awareness Month, which is in September. To be able to do all of that and be part of that, it was a really, really cool experience. And that weighed on my mind when I was thinking of which area I wanted to wanted to be part of for local title.
And I'm not really an expert in this. So is that like a big deal to like to have them like recognize it? Like, is there something, does it have to go through like a big process like to have that specific disease recognized the entire month? Like,
yeah, I don't know the entire process, but I know it was a process, and the
so
team
that's like a big deal then.
Yes, yeah, the team at PCOS Challenge has done an incredible job of getting that awareness out there.
Okay, so have they designated a color then? Because everyone has.
Yep.
Okay, so what's the color then?
It's teal.
Teal.
Yes.
Okay, so is it teal? Are we looking for teal ribbons or teal sleeves? Like, what's the? Because everything is in that kind of.
Teal ribbon is. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then when we were all on Capitol Hill, we all wore teal. Everyone, all the women, and there were a few men who came as well and who are her supporters as well. We all wore teal.
So, if you're in support, and you just want to show outside your house, should you just have like a teal, like a law ribbon if you have one of those flag staffs?
I'm sure they would love that. I don't know if they've gotten that far.
No, I'm saying, they have ones for for every other known disease, cancer, blah blah blah. So,
if they don't, we're going to create it now.
I'm just making us ideas. There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, so you definitely, did you guys get the funding, or do we need to use this podcast as a catalyst to start? Did you guys?
There's still more work to be done. There've been a few bills and resolutions that have come through.
Is there any current bills that we need to mention on that we can hopefully we can get some people to call? Do you know of any?
Yeah, if you go on to PCOSchallenge.org, then they have all the information there. I know there's a 5K coming up down in Orlando, and they do a lot of fundraising type of things as well. So PCOSchallenge.org.
Well, it sounds like you need to put one together for DC then.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
It sounds like
it. Yeah. Because your pageant, your national one is going to be in August?
In August, yep.
So no matter if you come back as the national title holder or you're just going to come back as the state, you could have one in September and October when the weather is still really nice here.
Yep.
So I would encourage you to do that.
Yep.
So and I would love to promote that. So please let us in the loop if that gets off the ground.
Absolutely, we'll do.
Yeah. So overall, it sounds like you've really, in your short time, just having that local title has really made a difference. How now that you have the state title and you're the first, are are you what's the short-term goal? Because you don't honestly have that much time to prepare for nationals. So are you feeling a little bit of a crunch preparing for nationals, or is this like a cake, like, because you've done NPC, you've done fitness competitions, you've done the other pageants, like, do you know your end goal, or are you kind of freaking out?
Well, there's definitely a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of work to be done. I'm getting there. I have an amazing team that's helping me get there. I think the biggest thing, and really the whole reason why I got into pageantry, was to make that difference. And I started a charity last year, that charity platform called Inspiration Across Nations. And for the past year, I've been writing inspirational blogs about people and organizations in the community. And
so do you have enough to put into a book?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
The next phase that I'm really working on and really want to launch before the end of the year is make it into an inspirational social platform. So I want to make volunteering a lot easier for people to figure out where to volunteer, how to volunteer, as well as make it easier for organizations to figure out who's available to volunteer. So to be able to have one paperwork that somebody does and put it into this system will make it a whole lot easier, because that's been a huge challenge that I've found, is actually finding opportunities to give back.
So you want to have one directory that you sign up, and then the organization pays a fee, and then they can pull all your information, and there's a back end for the not-for-profit, and there's a front end for the volunteer to sign up, and you're just going to be the middle person. I mean, that sounds like a great idea, because that does not exist right now.
It doesn't, and it's hard to find. So really what it would be is pulling information from different sites. Right. So you have one form,
make one, like you said, make one form.
Yep. No. Yep. And if there are certain areas, like if you're with dogs, or you're with medical, or you're with a mentorship group,
and you have all those different forms, right? And you have to have all those release forms.
Yep. And to have a platform where you have badges and you have things of like, this person has done X amount of hours within this organization, and if you want to move organizations, then they can already see what you've done within the community.
I mean, I don't know of a central volunteer website that exists. So please do it, because that would definitely, on top of it, there's a lot of stuff that you might want to volunteer for, but you only hear it because your friend does it, like,
right,
or your girlfriend does it. So
right.
Then she brings you along. So that would be a great way to be like, here's all the Maryland events.
Exactly. So and master calendar of here's everything that's going on, and hey, I have time on Thursday at 2:00. What do what kind of organization can I work with?
So you tell us when you start it, and I will promote it for you.
Awesome. Okay? Awesome. Yeah. I'm currently,
here comes the list. Yeah. Book. Thanks, Paul. I thought
exactly. I have all these lists now.
I thought this was gonna be a fun little interview, Paul. And now I have a home. I have Paul wants a book, and he wants me to build a website. And then he wants me to make a bill through Congress so that we get money. Okay.
Exactly. So right now I'm working on the business plan.
But it's good, because it's clearly you're really involved with what your goals are in life, and you're using your title to achieve those. So that's good. I mean, some people literally just I've won the title. I'm so good. I'm really good at nationals, but you're trying to really affect change, which is really important. So
yeah, and being able to be part of the Miss for America organization as Miss DC, to then meet all my sisters and have them all come together to this and really make a huge change in what the volunteering is, right? Mm-hmm. They did a study a few years ago that said a majority of volunteers that volunteer on a more regular basis, they come from religious organizations, and I can deduct from that's because there's a community wrapped around it, and you know who's there, you know who's going, you know what that's about. So if I can create that within Inspiration Across Nations, whether you're religious or not, or whatever religion you believe in, you can then create that community around all of these different organizations.
I also think you volunteer a lot in college too, because you have that group of friends. I don't know if you get that vibe too, because I did a lot of volunteering and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was part of a sorority, so we did a lot of philanthropy.
But it goes back to that surrounding yourself with people that, you know, because I think you're right. I think the biggest problem is that people don't want to go outside their comfort zone and do something in a large group if they don't have someone there to be like, this is my blanket. I'm bringing I'm bringing my emotional support person like to come on, even though the event could be like the best thing in the world. You know, we're gonna raise money to beat cancer, but like, there's no one to run with, so I'm not gonna go run without.
Yeah, or it might be an organization that's not as well known, you know, and it's you know, do I go? Do I not? What is it going to be like? So that's a lot of where my passion is coming from, and moving forward with that platform. So my goal is to launch it before the end of the year.
Okay.
Before the end of the year. So I'm working on a business plan. I'm working on finding a board of directors and everything that goes into a nonprofit type of organization, and so end of the year is what I'm pushing for.
Is there any specific special people you need? Do you need a web designer help, or do you need a graphic artist? You know, that may be listening out here that you know.
Yeah, please reach out.
But so who do you need help with? Do you need web designer? Do you need a coder? Do you need graphic artist?
I'm still going through the list, but reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to.
All right, guys. So she needs help with websites. She needs help with the back end server. She needs help with the whole back end of the website, like hosting it, all that kind of stuff. So if you can help her with that, please help her.
And the biggest thing is, once we get launched, is really to bring in these organizations and really build that awareness for what this is, what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish, and really partner with organizations. That'll probably be the biggest piece once we're up and running.
So basically, you're going to be a non-for-profit that represents non-for-profits.
Right.
So is that the first step? Are you working on getting that status? Is that the big thing?
Yeah, so when you have a 501c3, which is what a lot of the nonprofits have, you have to have a board of directors, and you have to put all of that together. And while my platform has been evolving and changing, I've been wanting to make it exactly where I want it to be before involving and putting all of that together. And I feel like right now I'm at that place where I'm ready to get that going. So there's a lot that goes along with the nonprofit 501c3.
No. And I don't want to like pre-announce it either. Like, if you're not like, it sounds like I'm like making all these like agenda lists for you. Oh God, you know, I barely know Paul, and Paul's making me do all this stuff. So
no, you know, if anybody has any suggestions, any ideas, please reach out to me. I am always open to any of that. So, you know, I want this to be a really big community. I don't want it to just be about me. I want to build this. I want to have people who are as excited about this as I am, and that's how this succeeds.
Do you have you bought a domain yet? Do you have
inspirationacrossnations.org.
Awesome. Love it.
Yep, that's the platform. I also have my own meganompu.com.
Yeah. She has this cool website with everything, you know. So if you totally just want to like, you know, do research on her, you can totally do it.
If you Google Megan Ompu, I'm pretty sure I'm the only Megan Ompu in the entire world. So
really,
yeah,
really,
yeah.
You know, because it's not a long name, so you would think there would be someone else, you know.
Yeah, a lot of the Ompus they're all my direct family.
Okay.
When I haven't Googled myself in a while, so.
Do you know what ethnic background? Oh.
Yeah, my great grandparents came over from Estonia.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So my dad's 100%. You know, in New Jersey, they had a group of Estonians. So my grandparents are both 100%.
So you guys come originally from a very small country. So like, there's not like a lot of people that have that specific name. So maybe you have like a really like kudos like legit like. So I guess it's not hard to like get your domain name
It wasn't.
or go to get the Google name.
Yeah. No,
So.
that was readily available.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I have a believe it or not, I actually have an uncle that actually sells tomato paste. So I had to like make sure I got all of like the Google names. So like,
right.
yeah, because I'm like I want to be Mr. Belletiere.
Yeah, maybe I need to go get the rest of them after this podcast.
Yeah,
be like, all right, what else is out there that I can get?
Hey, if it's free, might as well sign it up for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for like search purposes. You know how things are today. Because you might have a future husband, or you might have a future son or a daughter who's really famous. You don't want them to like. So if you like this, we'll sell it to you for $5 million.
Exactly.
I'm like, no, I got that. So don't worry about that.
Exactly.
So we talked on it briefly. So, do you have your dress yet?
I don't. Not yet.
You don't,
not yet.
Are you thinking of a color then?
Oh, there are a few colors I'm kind of debating through. So
what do you think your good colors? You won in blue.
In blue.
Did you win in blue in the other pageant too?
For international
Yes.
Miss, I wore like a gun or a gray gunmetal dress, which was about 200 pounds. Like it was a very heavy. It was all metal. It was beautiful. And then blue for this one.
Please send us a photo so we can put in the notes, because there's plenty of notes that we can put. So please give us an example, because if it's that impressive, we have to see it.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
How heavy was it again?
What's it?
How heavy was the dress again?
Well, it was probably 30 pounds.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And you had to walk in it.
Yeah.
Now, was it long to have train, or was it more like?
Had a train. Yep.
Yep.
It was a beautiful dress. I'll send some pictures.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So what was the for that dress specifically? What was the idea behind it? Was that let's go with the designer? The designer has a really crazy idea. I love her, or him, or did you just like see something and you're like, I want that?
Well, so for the dress that I won in Miss DC, the blue one, I went down to Miami to go visit Juan Carlos Pinera, and it's one of his dresses.
Okay.
And the first dress I tried on, the style I tried on, ended up being the style of the dress that I wore on stage. I tried on a bunch over there, and then they made it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, they made it in the blue, which is absolutely beautiful. He does amazing work.
And what was the inspiration for the gunmetal dress?
I tried it on and I loved it.
So that was
one of those. It's kind of like I said yes to the dress without it being a wedding dress.
When it's right, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
Sometimes you really have to go with your gut in life. If that's the person you marry,
yep.
The car you want to buy, you just got to make that decision, because otherwise you're going to sit there
exactly
and never make the decision. So.
Yeah, and I've been working coming up to Deja Vu Boutique, which is up in Maryland.
Are you enjoying that? Because a lot of the girls go there.
They've been amazing. They've done a lot of my appearance dresses, and they're wonderful. I walk in, they're like, hey, we have something that's your style. So they've been great to work with.
Yeah, one of the perks when you win, so this is something that everyone should definitely pay attention. When you win, depending on your director, they work out a deal where you get this rental service that's complimentary. So you go out, make sure it fits you, and then you get to take it out. But the big thing is you got to make sure you return it without destroying it. And it's a really great kudo for everyone, because you get to look beautiful and you get a bunch of dresses. I know that our close friend here at the show, Adriana, she has like 7 of them. So she has like a rack, and she has, and it's just easier that way because you go to appearances. So are you getting used to just going and getting a couple at a time? Like how's that working?
I typically buy all my dresses,
okay.
So I'm racking them up, and we'll probably look to either sell them or donate them. I'm leaning more towards donating to helping with that. But I had to get another rack in my office. I have a home office that
there's a young lady in Philadelphia that just started this dress for prom that I should probably connect you guys
Yeah,
with.
please do. I've heard that they've had some around, but I haven't met anybody who.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to
does it.
donate it, I mean, that's a notable cause, because if you're buying them, you're paying a pretty penny. So
Yeah,
that's
to be able to give back like that. I mean, I never went to prom myself, but I know that's a big
But
deal.
no, but that's really commendable for you, because you definitely have to be able to recoup your costs a little bit. So.
Yeah.
So, I guess we're gonna keep the dress a little hidden, because
We are for now.
Okay, but do you at least? It sounds like you don't have the color picked out, because I'm not getting no. So you're really up in the air.
Yes.
Okay, are you getting concerned, because it's really starting to get close?
No, I have the plan.
You do have a plan.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you have your interview dress? Like, do you have the little things? Like, do you have your shoes? Like
I have the shoes. I have a majority of my outfits, but there's still a few I need to get.
Okay.
So I'll be working with Deja Vu. I'll be working with Juan Carlos Panera, and then possibly a few others on making sure that my wardrobe is set to go, because it's an entire week in Las Vegas.
Did they? Because this is the first year. Like, how is it set up? Because I'm sure there's a lot of young ladies that didn't know about it. They want to know about the pageant. Are they doing a bikini for this? Are they doing a fitness competition? Are they not doing it at all? Is it primarily, like, how is this like shaped when it comes to the way they're doing their presentation for the Ms. side?
Yeah, so there'll be a costume, there'll be a one-piece swimsuit and gown, and then of course interview prior.
I do like the idea of a one piece, because one piece is really nice and very flattering, and
I agree.
Making you forced to choose the designer that they sponsor with as a bikini doesn't always work. Even the girls that are for USA and America that are on television, sometimes it doesn't fit the body, but the one piece usually fits the body really well. So
that, and a lot of it is about confidence. You don't need to be the most buff, the skinniest, the whatever. It's all about how you feel inside, which is why I love that they have the one piece. And coming from, bodybuilding, where there are two pieces and very, very small, the one piece is great, but it really showcases the hard work that you put in, whatever you look like.
Well, I absolutely agree with that comment. And on top of it, it goes back to their philosophy that they are really the MRS America, so they're just giving more opportunities to people that aren't there yet. So they want to kind of like help you find someone. Basically, they're like, I can see one day like they had a component where we'll have a dating show part of the because I'm sure that the owners of the pageant wouldn't mind if a lot of you guys got married, and then next year
we apply for the misses.
Exactly. They did change the rule this year that or the last year that where you can, as on the MR side, you can go back multiple years now. So they definitely they got to keep on bringing as many people into the group. And it honestly, I know we talked about this earlier briefly off air, but it really is the best pageant.
It's amazing pageant system.
It really is.
I'm very blessed to be part of it.
I reached out to the young ladies just thinking that this is like one of the best, but it really is the best married pageant. It, like, the way they treat everyone and all the gifts you guys get is incredible.
And they really want it to be a sisterhood, right. And to bring that into the Miss for women who are 18 and over, not married. You can be divorced, you can be widowed, you can be single, you can be all that. That really is huge in terms of building their brand outside of the Mrs. organization.
No. And the thing is that our demo, I'm 30, I'll be 37 this year. Not everyone is ready to get married in their 20s and 30s. Some are getting married in their 40s. So if you are affluent and you are successful, you're like penalized if you're not married. So if you wanted to do a married pageant and all of your and that's the thing, what if all of your girlfriends are married? So then you can't compete with them. And it's, it's definitely sorority. Like, because you'd want to like compete with your girlfriend. So then by the time you get married, then they're having babies or whatever.
Right.
So like you definitely you want to do it with your girlfriend. So this is I think that what they've done is this is perfect. It gives the people that are still seeking love, but like maybe they're just not worried about like finding that person. Maybe they're focused on being like you're saying, you're working on physically changing the society on things that could help you physically live longer and like really affect change, which is great because, you know, if you decide to find him or her, they'll be in that mix of people. They should come to you naturally.
Exactly.
Then like and have to like find search them out. So
yeah, and I think one of the cool things that's a little bit different in pageantry is that for the Miss DC for America and Mrs. DC is we were all on the same stage. The exact same time, and I was crowned first as Miss DC for America, and then Nikki Noya, who I think is going to be on your podcast.
I'm really looking forward. We need to. I hope she's listening. We need to we need to schedule a time for her.
Yeah, she was crowned, and we were on stage together. We've been doing some events together, and it's really she's my married counterpart, right? And it's really creating that sisterhood, and that's very different than I think a lot of the other pageant systems.
One of the things I've definitely noticed in prior years is that this system was always awesome, but the girl was always by themselves. Like, so as the photographer, I had volunteered my services to go to public appearances. But now if you have a girlfriend who's your actual title holder girlfriend, it's even more fun because now you have two people to bounce off ideas. And just like you're saying, I can't imagine like America or USA not having the teen, because the teen is just like that, it's such a cute little girl, and you bring her. So this is the same thing, you're not the cute little girl, you're just the older girl that's really cute,
Right.
So,
right.
And she's like, she can mentor. See, we'll find you the right guy or girl, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Nikki, get on that. No, I'm just kidding.
FYI.
Yeah. Yeah. But even when we go to Las Vegas, so I get in on Friday, August 15th, 16th, and I compete. The Miss for America is August 23rd. The Mrs. America is August 24th. So we're going to be in the same place in the same time, except for one day different. So it'll be very interesting to be a part of that. That's a lot of women on stage. So I'm sure we won't all be on stage at the same time, but to be in the same area, same arena with our married counterparts and getting to know everybody is incredible.
I would agree that I think it's important that for the state, for the national, that you get your own, like, because that would be literally over 100 people.
Yes.
But are they going to at least be sitting in the stands rooting for you? I assume they're coming in, and are they going to be in the stands?
They'll be there the entire week. So
you're just going to reverse. So when you guys are on stage, they're rooting for you, and then when you...
Yeah, but I'm planning on staying that awesome. Saturday and rooting them on as well.
See that, and that's kind of how what they've done the last couple of years with USA is they combine the pageants, but they put them in separate days. So there's a 3-day gap. So I think that's a good way, because then you can have them come in and cheer for you. And I think it's like a natural built-in, like, they always say that at the Apple conferences when they announce like the first 3 rows are all the rows are all the Apple employees, and they all just are the all yes men. Oh yes. But but it's good for you too, because you're literally on stage, so you really do need that you really do want like someone to give you a pat on the back, like, yes, it's so awesome.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. For Miss DC. I was able to have a bunch of people there. I ended up winning the Entourage Award because I had such a big support system. But they had signs, and my parents were there, and it was just wonderful.
So I would definitely encourage. Do you have like an official photo that you love?
I just got photos done, and I will be getting some more done.
But I mean, like, you pick out your photo and then tell your entourage to use that one photo.
Yep.
So you have like an official photo, and then what you can do is you can get them to put LED lights around it.
Yep, that's what we got those. Yeah.
And you can glowy lights, so like that kind of stuff. Because when you're up on that stage, it's really, really bright. So the idea is that you're still looking at the judges, but you can see this like flashing kind of like in the
Yeah,
background.
it's so fun.
Yeah, no, yeah,
It's
exactly.
so fun.
So it sounds like you're super excited for for nationals, and it sounds like you still working on getting everything. But it looks like you have a really good agenda afterwards. Was there anything that we didn't talk about because I'd love to give you an opportunity at this point to really talk about. Is there anything that we didn't like really talk about that is really important for your upcoming year? Because the way I always look at, you should always just assume you're going to win. So as the national title holder, what would be the total goal? Because I assume it'd still be you're just going to do it on a national level as well. So
yeah, and to visit more states, to be involved in as many organizations as possible, and really help grow not only my Inspiration Across Nations platform, but really help grow the Miss for America platform and get the voice out there of women who are 18 and over and want to do a pageant and thought about it when they were younger, but now they're thinking about it again, being older, even being younger, even being 18. That's really big. So really continuing with that, visiting a lot of different states. I was in Tennessee last week and was able to be the MC for a fashion show. That was incredible. We raised money for St. Jude Hospital. And then the next day we went to St. Jude, and I got to meet some of the kids and just put a smile on their face, which is incredible considering a lot of the difficulty that they're going through. So continuing to do things like that. So if listeners out there, if you want Miss DC to come to your event, I'm always available. I'm always ready. I love meeting new people.
Well, tell them, but this is your opportunity. So which way do you want them to contact? Do you want them to contact you via your website that you set up, which you should talk about, or your Instagram? Like, how's the easiest way?
Yeah, so at my website, meganonpu.com, I have everything on there. I have information on Miss DC, Inspiration Across Nations, but I also have a blog, a personal blog. So there might be more there than, for the other books, and maybe I have a second book coming.
I would encourage you, a blog is just a short book that hasn't been published yet.
Exactly. And I've talked a lot about my challenges. I've talked a lot about how I've overcame a lot of different things, because a lot of times you might see somebody and say, oh, they have the world by their fingertips, but what did it take them to get to where they are, and what do they struggle with now, and what are they still going through and still working on in themselves? Because we all have challenges, no matter who you are.
Well, and that's the exact reason why I wanted to talk and have this radio show, because all of my girlfriends or all my guy friends, we are not perfect, but somehow we have been able to become the top in our field and be completely successful. So anything that has held you down, you have been able to rise and become the top in your field. So that's something you should be totally proud of. So no matter if you don't come home with the national title, or if you do, you're still absolutely a winner, because you like you said, you were able to totally change, and you were able to affect change, and you were able to affect your personal change. So
huge growth. Huge growth. My mantra is, anything you do in life either needs to be fun or get you to where you want to go. And if you can be both, even better. But I utilize that when I'm looking at where I want to go, what I want to do. Okay, is it going to be fun? Yes, let's do it. Is it going to get me to where I want to go? Yes, let's do it. So that's a lot of my mantra, and how I've gotten to where I am today, and how I'm going to get to wherever this leads me next.
So I've got one question, because it came in my head, and I think it's important. So we know how all these younger millennials and younger, which they haven't named that group, so millennials and further, don't really like to associate with their mother or married people. So that stereotype, 18 to, because it's 18 and above. So that 18 to 35, those are they usually don't want to associate with married people. Give them a pitch why to do that. Like, do you think this is a good pageant to practice and then do USA or America? Like, do you have any suggestions why you should do this, and have that older sister to like really, because that's just she becomes your sister.
Yeah, it's an incredible sisterhood. Just the amount of support that we give each other, and really you need to find the right platform for you. But for me, I really like the way that the Miss for America organization is starting to be run. It'll be very interesting to see how everything comes together. Mrs. America and Mrs. DC has an incredible reputation. So to be the first Miss DC for America and speaking it into existence, hopefully the next Miss for America, you're really setting the stage for what that looks like. And I don't know if there's a really big difference in wanting to work with someone who's married or who's not. Really, in the workplace, you work with a little bit of everybody. So I don't think that should deter someone from going after, Miss for America or Miss DC. But it just provides an additional layer of sisterhood and someone you can bounce ideas off of and help from a community standpoint and someone who has or potentially has similar goals as you.
Well, I guess I was saying, I guess my question or my point was, sometimes as a young adult, guy or girl, we don't like to take the opinions of someone a little bit older, assuming most people that get married are a little bit older. And yes, you can get married when you're 18, but do you appreciate the mentorship that you're getting from your older married contestant sisterhood? Is that something that you look forward to, that like has been beneficial to you? Like, that's basically what I'm trying to.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Nikki and I are friends, and
well,
we were
friends.
we were holding hands on stage,
Good.
and she is one of the sweetest women I've ever met. But I would say that it just enhances, for me, it enhances it. And there are some events we do together, there's some events we do separate, so we're able to come together. It just adds an additional layer that I may or may not have had if I didn't go into this system.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on, talking about your brand new title. Did I miss anything? Is there anything that before we leave that we didn't discuss that we should glance upon? Otherwise, I'm going to close out the show. No?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for this opportunity, any of the listeners, reach out to me. I'm very good at. I have my phone connected to me like 24/7. Unfortunately, like most people these days, but always open to ideas, always open to suggestions, and if there are any events, please reach out. I'm more than happy to discuss, and if I'm able to come, I'll do that.
And I would definitely, if you guys have an event in DC or the surrounding Virginia, Maryland area, within 10 minutes, 20 minutes, guys, please be conscious for time. I'm sure that if it's available, she'll come out. And I will definitely put all of her contact information in the bio below. So just scroll down to the bio section. I'll have her website and all information. So just do that if it'd be easier for you to, if you have a hard time listening, you can just pull right there and you can go right there. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan, so much for being on the show. It's always good to hear people truly getting over their adversities. And it's really important to let women know that if you're struggling with your weight, especially in your college years, you can battle past that, and you can feel confident, sexy, and strong about yourself later in life. It's only where you are currently. So we're really proud of you for you to be able to achieve your goals and to promote positive body image now too. Don't forget, everyone, to subscribe to our show on iTunes and on YouTube. Remember, our show drops every Thursday, so please stay tuned. We appreciate all the love and support, so please comment and like and subscribe to the show. And we'll see you back next Thursday.